Well, if we don't have a cold open, there is a topic I want to address at the beginning. It's more of a serious topic. I know that
Okay.
it usually doesn't feel like that around here.
Well, I
Um,
mean, we do sometimes do serious topics. Like we have done them in like past podcasts we've done, like on Trash Talk or even here.
well,
Okay,
I
not
just
this show
wanted
yet, but
to give this like little segment in the show. Obviously, I wish we could do more because it is a situation that I don't know, that worries me a lot. I think I read about it a lot. But if I just wanted to use this moment to commemorate Mito Halimi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But if you
Mhm.
don't know who that guy was, uh, he was a sort of influencer from Gaza, and he was struck by I think shrapnel from an explosion,
Oh no,
and he passed away this week. And I don't know,
I'm sorry to hear that.
it's just really weird. I don't know. I don't know how to process this. I know I never talked to him. It was kind of more of a
Mm,
parasocial relationship, I guess. But
right.
but I was a fan
It's
of
like
his
you.
videos. I was a fan of his videos. He made like gardening videos, I guess we could call them. And I mean, in a very
Right.
dire situation, obviously. But it just, I don't know, it messed me up a lot. I don't know, it's crazy because he was just 19. Well, yeah, I just wanted to, give a segment here for Mita on the show.
Yeah.
And hopefully this situation in Gaza can end as fast as possible. So, maybe
Hopefully.
no more teenagers die in these sort of
Yeah.
really
Hmm.
horrible ways. But anyways, here comes the intro, and we're gonna be funny now. So, hey, I'm Emilio,
Hey, I'm Ryan.
and welcome to the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast.
We're two friends that have only ever met through the internet.
Join us as we talk about our lives in this epic show.
And the show starts now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast. I am here. My name is Emilio, and I'm here with my co-host, Ryan. Ryan, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing awesome, Emilio. The delayed reaction from that intro. But awesome to be back doing another episode here of the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast. Awesome to be back doing another epic episode. We have some awesome things to talk about with you guys this time around with our funny and witty humor. And the main reason you guys come back to the show in the first place is not only our dynamic, of course, but,
Our
the
parents pay you to
constant
listen
awesome.
to us.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that on the show though right now though, man. See, this is the reason why I'm slowly going bankrupt as time goes on. My parents have been helping me out for years, even throughout college, but they've been trying to finance this online internet dream of mine and Emilio's, even though they have no clue who Emilio is. And they think he's some random guy I met on Craigslist or something. But they're still contributing to this podcast, so they're dedicated. I gotta give them that
Shout out to Ryan's parents. Anyways,
for
Ryan,
helping keep this show going.
so if you guys didn't listen to the last episode, you might have noticed that it was sort of we filmed those back to back. Like we were dressed the same.
Yeah,
So
even though
we
I'm
have to
like
go.
wearing the same shirt as those two last episodes that you're watching the
I
video
noticed
version.
that. I noticed that when I was editing, because I was like, wait a minute, Ryan has the same shirt as he had in the intro
I'm
for
not
these
even
for this episode for the podcast. I
I'm
did.
not even joking. I own like 3 or 4 identical green shirts. This may not even be the exact one from those episodes last week, but I own like 4 green shirts from like the same branding of shirt companies. So don't worry, I'm not wearing just one shirt all the time,
I,
everyone.
I, I
Even though, again,
I thought it
As
was
proven,
like
my
your.
parents are funding this show, so we have no money.
I
So
thought
I
that
have to
was
wear
just
one
like
shirt.
your Friday shirt or something.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like Sheldon Cooper, if you guys are familiar with the Big Bang Theory, where I just label every piece of clothing I have for every day of the week. Like this is my Monday shirt, but whatever, Friday, Monday, what's the difference at this point,
Yeah.
It's a day of the week.
The Big Bang Theory. Are you talking about old young Sheldon?
I'm fucking no. I've never really watched the show. I've only caught young Sheldon. I don't know. I just know he's an iconic character that labels his clothes, and that kind of fits.
Anyways, before we go down a rabbit hole of talking about the Big Bang Theory, let's just
Please no.
instead talk about Ryan. What did you do these past 2 weeks?
Yes, because for those of you who didn't know as well, because Emilio just mentioned that we recorded back-to-back podcasts because of other events that were going on in each of our lives at that time. This is the first time that we're talking here in 2 weeks. So a lot of things have gone down for me personally in that time period. A lot of awesome and unique things. Without boring you guys on some of the boring details about work and, all the usual chore stuff that you have to do when you're a grown adult and you have bills to pay. Thank you. Please give me money. But yeah,
Donate
so
to
some
us
of
on
the
Ko-fi.
please, guys, we need Kofi to become bigger, not just for the show, but each of us, like we're grown men at this point, so obviously we have to feed ourselves. We
I
have
just
bills
want
and
to be
payments.
rich. I don't care about all of that. I just want you guys to turn me into a millionaire for no reason. Please and thank you.
We have so forget the dynamic of the show. This is Ryan and Elon Musk Jr. over here. So on that note, in terms of what I was doing these
Elon
past few
Musk
weeks,
doesn't
I've
give
been
money to his kids, Ryan. What are you talking about?
But no, I was working on improving parts of the house, cleaning up a lot more scrap and trash out of a barn that's there on the property, clearing out some more junk from there as well, adding in some more pieces of equipment and whatnot. If you guys don't know, it's my great grandmother's house. I mentioned this a few episodes back. Large, expansive property. We have a lot of plans of what we want to do with the land and putting some more buildings, some 2-car garage and whatnot on there. Plans have been made. Getting some more equipment and tools in order to actually go and put some more stuff down on the property. I also recently took a trip just yesterday in order to pay a lot of money for a car fob, an electronic car fob to be specific.
What's
I was
a
mowing last.
what's a car fob?
A car fob, if you don't know, it's an electronic fob. Actually, I can show you this. It looks like this a little bit. It's something that electronically locks and unlocks your car. And unfortunately for me, when I was mowing the property last week, I lost my keys and I dropped them and they are somewhere out there in the yard. I have no clue what happened to
Guys,
them.
if you want to win a
So
free car, that's actually
if you
the
want to
big
win a free car,
challenge.
just get your metal detectors and start going around my land. If you find them, please return them to me. Then I'll
Or
have,
just
but
win
it
a
doesn't
free
matter at this
car.
point. Yeah, you just want a free car, even though I have 2 sets of keys now already. The one you find is the third
Well,
one.
that's part two. You have to protect the car from Ryan. Ryan will come over and try to steal the car back.
This is sounding more and more like a Mr. Beast video.
That is like,
As this goes on.
yeah. I mean, you've got we're just missing the human rights abuse, and it's a Mr. Beast video.
Yeah, that's true. Or the fake giveaways and mistreatment of employees and
Yeah.
customers.
We just
So
need to scam a
awesome.
bunch of kids, allegedly, and
Allegedly.
allegedly.
But that's something that I got into just yesterday, actually, at the time of recording today. So I lost these sets of keys, and if for those of you guys who have key fobs or you worry about getting them electronically programmed, when I lost it, I only had one set left. So the way it works, if you've never been through this process, is I needed to go and get a spare set of keys because if I lose this one, I'm screwed. I can't use my car. So I ended up having to go through a dealership, which is the one of the brands of my car, basically. And I couldn't just walk into a local dealership and have a new key made because it's specific to the brand of car that I own. So the only 2 dealerships that were available were over an hour away for either dealership. So I had to call and I had to order a new fob through them. And I went up there just the other day, waited there for hours to have this fob made. And it's not just that, they have to electronically make the key so that way you can lock and unlock your car. And the car has to be at the location for them to electronically pair it. Otherwise, it's never going to work. So the key will be useless unless you have the car there, meaning you're going to be waiting for multiple hours on end as is. That wasn't the worst part about the whole thing, though. Not only were we stuck there waiting for hours, and they were still somehow able to get us in, despite the fact that I had an appointment for like 2 weeks from now. We decided screw it and see if they could slot us in, which they were able to. But I had to pay. Amelia, how much do you think I had to pay for us? Simple electronic key. How much do you think it cost me?
$200.
Nope. More than that.
What?
Yep, more than $200. I'm not joking.
$201.
Whoa, how'd he know?
Wait, Ryan,
No,
how much was it?
I am now negative $400 in the hole for one car key. And I'm not joking. So, guys, if you could start donating to us on Ko-fi, it would be really appreciated right now. We could start getting some of this revenue in, so I can make my money back.
I mean, that you just made a great TikTok clip, so.
Yeah, 400. For anyone who's ever been through that experience, and not only do you have to wait for hours on end, but pay hundreds of dollars for a car key of all things, the automotive industry can sometimes be a scam.
Yeah.
As was proven to me the other day. So those are the kinds of things that I've been up to. I've been, work, I've been going through and doing stuff around for home renovation stuff and hanging out with family, and also paying out hundreds of dollars for new car keys. So all sorts of interesting things I've been up to.
So it was a freaking mess. But anyways, Ryan, that's a really cool story.
You go ahead. What have you been up to?
This was my week, everybody. I finally got to celebrate my birthday. Because when we recorded that episode, I was starting to feel a little bit sick. And then the next day, when it was my actual birthday, I was sick as hell. I had the flu or something, I think. And I didn't feel like doing anything. So I just had lunch at home, had a cake at home, and that was my birthday. But the weekend after that, I did go and celebrate with my friends. After hearing Ryan's story, the bill I had to pay didn't seem super expensive compared to, because it was just 10 people.
Yeah, I actually got it for free.
And we went to a club and we paid like $200 maybe,
That sounds about right if you're going to like a nightclub or something.
Yeah.
But
I mean, to me it makes sense because it was 10 people, right?
Right.
Like if we were just like 4 or 5 people, I'd be like, well, okay, we gotta slow down. And the next day I drove by there with a friend, and she says, why are we driving by the club? And I said, well, we didn't pay the bill, so we're gonna clean up for them tonight.
I thought you say we're gonna bounce here and we're never coming back to this club again.
We owe them $400, so we're gonna clean the floors and we're gonna. Anyway, so that's
what I had to do with the dealership, because I didn't have enough money to pay them for that new key, so I just cleaned their floors for them too.
Anyway, so there's something I think we could talk about that's kind of interesting. Again, speaking about sort of college in the States and college in Mexico. I think it's different the way you guys do it here. Like, Ryan, how do you get your bachelor's degree in the States? Like, what's the process?
That's a pretty interesting So we've talked about this, I remember, in the past on our old show, and we've cross compared differences between our Rest in Peace show that will never be named. Yes,
we can't.
It's like
talk about that.
No, we can't. It's owned by somebody else now, so we can't legally discuss it anymore. But we've talked about differences between like American colleges and colleges in Mexico. And one of the key differences would be in acquiring degrees. So for a bachelor's degree, for instance, it normally takes 4 years, roughly, which translates to about 8 semesters in the spring and the fall, because you still have summers off for 3 months approximately. So during those 8 semesters or 4 years, you have to take a certain number of credits and take certain classes. Your bachelor's degree itself, typically for your 4-year degree, is going to be what fields you would want to be specialized in. So my degree was in social science, which covers 6 different areas of history. But let's just say for simplicity's sake, it's a history degree that I got for my teaching. So during my 4 years while I was in college for my bachelor's degree, you have to do a certain number of credits, which I believe translates out to 120 credits that you have to obtain. Each class that you take throughout each of these 8 semesters or 4 years is worth a certain amount of credits. So you have like a world history class for me that would be like 5 credits, or you take a psychology class that's worth like four. You basically, by the time you're done your bachelor's degree, you had to have taken enough classes where you get 120 credits by the time that you're slated to graduate. But it's not just acquiring those 120 credits that you need. It's also about making sure that you're taking your required classes, regardless of what the credits are. Because for a bachelor's degree here in the States, you have certain classes that you have to take for your degree. So for like my history degree, I had to take like world history, US history, some language classes, some like social science type classes like psychology and that kind of thing. But you have classes that you have to take regardless of what your degree is in, because you have to prove that you're knowledgeable in certain assignments. Because for me, I'm not a big math guy. I never have been. I can do math. I could barely do 2 plus 2, which is 3, by the way. But I've never
Sounds
really
about
been a
right.
huge math. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you look at it at a certain angle when you move it, it kind of looks like a 3.
Hell
But
yeah.
for instance, I've never been a huge math guy, for instance, but you have to take all your base level classes for the degree. You have to take math, you have to take sciences like biology or chemistry or something like that. You have to take history classes, English classes. No matter if it's towards your subject or not that you're going for your degree, you still have to pass and take certain classes. And that's kind of how a bachelor's degree here in the States is structured. Acquiring those 120 credits, taking all those required classes that you have to for your degree, even the ones that are essentially useless, if you want to call them that you're never going to use,
Filler
you still have to
classes.
take certain courses. Yeah, filler classes is basically what they are. You're either taking them for the credits or you're taking them because you have to. There's a few classes that I took like that, like a theater class,
Oh, that's
like
actually
a
kind of
theater.
cool.
Actually, I enjoyed it. It was a performing arts class that I needed, I think, while I was a junior in college. And I was struggling to choose between what I needed for this last class requirement, because I had to take something like an art class, like for, excuse me, painting, sculpting, acting, something like that. So I ended up taking a theater major class where we studied and analyzed popular Broadway plays. And I actually had to attend for an assignment two college plays that they acted out on stage, which was cool to do, but it was for a grade. You didn't really have much of a choice. Even if you didn't want to spend your very little time outside of college classes in the evening, you still had to go for a grade. So that's just an example. It was a good class though. We even analyzed like Wicked, for instance, when that came to Broadway, based off The Wizard of Oz. That was a cool one to look over. So, but that's essentially the kind of thing that you have to do for a bachelor's degree. You have to meet all these requirements. College, just thinking about all the hard things that I had to do in college and all the work I poured into it just makes me tired from even the thought of it.
Well,
Because it is
here
a lot.
it's a bit different. I mean, here you get like depending on what your degree is in. So, for example, I studied communication. So from the beginning, they tell you, okay, you have to pass all of these classes. These are all the classes you have to take. And some schools, like throughout each semester, you get to pick out which classes that of your required classes you want to take. Not my school. The one I went to, you at the beginning of the semester, it was a lot like in. I guess I don't know if you guys do the same for high school, where they tell you these are all the classes you have to take this semester, and then you
They
do.
kind of did, but the only experience I had with that was when I was a senior. Because if you had all of your classes required at that point that you've already passed, they told you, listen, we know that a lot of you won't, but we strongly recommend that you guys take a math class your senior year. You don't have to, and it's not going to benefit your degree, but we really think that you should be taking a math class that you might potentially fail your senior year because it'll look better. Almost nobody took a math class my senior year,
Oh
except I
no.
did. For some reason, I don't know why. I took
No,
statistics.
here you just have to, like, they give you the classes you're supposed to take that semester. Other schools do it different. Other schools do like tell you, okay, at the beginning of the semester you pick out which classes you're gonna take, and but it has to be classes that can are for your degree, right? So if you're let's say you're getting your degree in physics, there's a certain amount of classes that you're supposed to take that are required.
I see.
Then there's also you
You
have to
probably didn't.
do. There's it depends in private schools and public schools. It's different. For example, when I was in a public university, I had to do every semester. You have to do your social service, social work, sort of.
That's different, actually, because that's not
And
something that's required here for like a degree, for instance.
but if you're in a private school, that's not required unless you have a scholarship. So when I changed to a private school, I had a 40% scholarship. So every semester I had to do 40 hours of a sort of community service, social work type thing, which
Right.
was kind of a scam, honestly, because like there were departments that didn't take that seriously, and they were just like, well, we don't really count the hours. Just we're gonna give you this assignment and bring it to us at the end of the semester. But then there were other departments that were very strict, like they were counting the seconds that you were there just to make sure that you did everything. Even if you were doing nothing, they just wanted you to be in their offices the amount of hours that you were required for no reason. And
So you could just be sitting there doing nothing, and they would still count it.
And then not every school has like a different system of doing this, but there's also the credit system, but it's a bit different. For example, the school I went to, there were 3 types of credits. There were social, culture, and sports credits. So you had from the first semester to I think it was the 7th semester, or the ending of the 7th semester, where you had to get all these credits. So you would like, for example, cultural activities. You could enroll in like a club. So for example, I went to the theater club. I was there for 2 semesters. I think I talked about this in the unnamed show.
Yes, in that unnamed show,
Yeah.
TM.
Then,
I think you did talk about your time. Didn't you find like machetes or something like that
yeah,
at one point?
I found my shit. But that wasn't part of that was part of my community service for my degree.
Okay, I was thinking, whatever happened with that, by the way? Because you never talked about what happened in the aftermath. You just found them like the day when we recorded.
I have no idea, because I stopped doing my social service with them, because
Okay.
they were the type of department to count every single second. Even though there were days I just went there and wasted 4 hours doing nothing. So that's why I stopped going there.
So these potential homicide weapons just could still be there to this day.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. And then you have social credits, which are like you go to aid at a school that or like community centers, maybe for disabled people, elderly people, homeless youth, homeless people, elderly. I already said that one. Some of my friends did their credits at an orphanage. Or you could just go to talks, like these drug prevention talks that don't really
Like a TED
help.
Talk.
But yeah, those really boring talks. They go to the schools and stuff.
Mm.
And then there's sports credits, where you could just go to the gym or join a team or start a team. Those were really, really boring, because they were really time consuming and expensive, because you had to pay for each and every one of them, which I found it to be kind of a scam.
Yeah. Look, dude, when you try and start up a Scrabble club in a sports club, how many people you really get? Who wants to learn in a sports group?
I don't know. I'm charging $500 on entry per person.
$500 for people to learn how to spell and do math to add up scores. What were you thinking, Emilio?
It was a great scam. No, but it sucked because like
yes.
when I tried to do all the credits at the beginning of my degree. So the first 2 years, all I did was those freaking credits. Like I was there at school all day. I started my school day at 7 a.m. and got home 9 p.m. Like, I was there 12 hours plus, I think. And anyway, so after that, then you may reach your senior year, right? And you don't have to do anything,
Mhm.
but you have to do your professional service. So what that means, I don't remember how many hours it was, but it was a lot. It was almost 6 months worth of work
Wow, that's a
where
while.
you have to. So yeah, so you go to a company and you sort of work as an intern for 6 months, and they tell you, okay, this guy proved he can be in a work environment, and that's another thing you have to do to get your degree. I was already working at a place, so it was a lot easier for me, but for a lot of people it's kind of hard, to find a company, and then that company has to accept them.
Hmm.
It's a whole lot of work. And then once you've got that, um, there's a lot of ways you can get your degree. So I know I posted on Instagram that I posted on Instagram pictures of me going to a sort of ceremony where they give you a diploma. That is not technically the degree. That does not count as me having a degree in
So you have a
communication
fake
science.
degree? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Kind of. And
So you never actually graduated college?
here's the thing. So that degree doesn't mean that I have a bachelor's degree. It means I finished the program.
They
So when I
finished the
want to get
program.
my bachelor's degree, I can prove that one. And so the way you get your bachelor's degree here is that there are many methods. It also depends on the degree. So there are you write up a thesis, a long ass document. You can There's an exam that basically covers every single thing that you saw these 4 years. There is a diploma that is basically you have to make like a project. Um, and then there's what I did, which was graduate based on my GPA. You had to. I don't know how the scale works in the States. Here is from 1 to 10. Keep it simple. Um,
Something like that.
Here it's like if you had a grade point average of 9, you could graduate based on your grades, and that's what I did. So basically, all of last week, I was just doing all of the paperwork. I had to get the certificates of that I didn't owe the school any money, but it's complete bullshit because
I do.
you could go to just the main office. Like, obviously, the whole point of that to me is stupid. Like, if you know that you're supposed to be the one that
Mhm.
knows that I don't owe you money. Anyways, you guys should be the ones to keep records. I shouldn't go to each department and ask for a certificate. But that's what I did.
I have. Wow.
I went to the sports department, the library, the computer department, and then to the main administration. And they gave me a little paper that says I didn't owe them any money. Then
All that.
the degree coordinator, she has to sign a letter that says that I did in fact get a 9.2 grade point average. And then I went back to the administration, gave them all the documents, and in 8 months, I will officially get my bachelor's degree.
So, two things I'm getting out of this right off the bat. One, you have a fake college degree currently. It
That's not
basically
how it
says, "Here,
works,
bro.
Ryan. It
Here's a
basically,
loan.
you're not paying
Here's a piece of
attention.
paper that here's a piece of paper that says you have a degree, but you don't have the degree yet.
Yeah.
So technically, you're not a college graduate yet."
No,
And two,
I'm a college graduate. I don't have a bachelor's degree. That's different.
oh,
So
so
what
what
you
you're
call the
saying is,
fake certificate, that's what certifies that I finished college, but it doesn't certify
uh,
that I have the degree. So it's different here in Mexico because it's not the same graduating college to getting your degree. Is what I'm trying to explain.
No, but that is a little bit different, though, actually. I mean, we talked about college, like, seriously, we talked about college differences in the past. I think that is an interesting way to do it. Like, you are graduating from college, but you don't have the degree in your hand yet. But you're going to get it at some point, right?
In
Like you
8
said, in eight
freaking
months.
months.
I was going to say that's a long time to wait for a degree because for here in the States, for a bachelor's degree, as long as you meet all the requirements where you have all the credits, all your classes taken, when graduation day arrives, as long as you physically show up, you graduate and you get your
Optional.
actual degree. Yeah, optional to show up. Yeah, I don't think they're going to give it to you. And honestly, I think that if you're going through all those years of hard work, you should show up to dress up in your robes, go there with your class, walk on stage, and have your moment for your friends and your family to applaud you for all your hard work, standing there on stage with your diploma. Not where you open up your mailbox one day and they just send it to you in a busted up UPS freaking box.
Well, I mean, for that one, they do, like, for the degree, they do have the ceremony as well.
Okay, which is a good thing.
But I'm going to do
It's
it with a
something
bunch of
else.
randos. So,
Yeah,
so I'm going to have the one with
like,
my classmate and the ones with some guys I don't even know.
but that kind of reminds me too. Something that I've always been kind of jealous of for Emilio's education, or I guess in Mexico, period. When Emilio's talking about getting a slip saying that he owes them no money, I am the exact opposite situation. I owe a lot of money for my college degrees because we've talked about this. I remember on that old unnamed show where I have revealed what my current college debt sits at back then and how much my degrees have cost. And I can tell you that it is far more than Emilio's because he's sitting at
Yeah.
$0. Mine, even if mine was $1, it's still more than his. Spoiler alert, it's more than $1.
Is it more than $400?
You know, that key fob doesn't sound too bad now when you put it that way. If I'd rather pay the $400 for it rather than what the current rate is. But I mean, that's the other side of it too. That's just kind of how American colleges are set up. You're going to be paying something. It doesn't matter what scholarships you have or anything else. There's no such thing as free college here in the States. You will be paying something for it, whether it be your classes, your textbooks, tuition, whatever it might be. You might have a better ride if you have more money at your disposal, but you're going to be in debt something. It's just inevitable. But you need those degrees. If you want to get the higher level jobs that'll get you the money, then you're kind of in a position to where here's 10K and a kidney. This will probably cover my first semester. Only 3.5 more years to go, and I only have one more kidney. So you're basically screwed something.
Yeah, I mean, it is cheaper, but at the same time, I think it's still kind of complicated. I guess if you look at the average income of a person here, um, it's a lot. I think, for example, I had a scholarship, but if I didn't have that scholarship, I don't think I would have been able to afford my degree. Um, and also, there's like, as you mentioned, well, we don't really use textbooks anymore, but certain degrees do,
Yeah.
and those are always expensive. Those aren't included in at least in college studies. Textbooks aren't included. In I think I don't know if at high school level, but in middle school and elementary level, textbooks are free here, so that's good. But
That's a good thing.
but overall, like, I guess I don't know if I don't really want to say anywhere because I imagine there are places where it's a bit more affordable.
Yeah.
But at least in these two countries, going to school is expensive. I guess at every level, because you have to consider transportation,
Yeah.
food. Most people
Food,
work
if
and
you're
study.
yep,
So
if you're staying on campus,
yeah,
that kind of thing. And I mean, any strategy that a college student can come up with to make their stay at the university the least amount of being expensive as possible. And one method to do so is
is
actually with
donating to our
textbooks, at least
Kofi.
here in the state. Yeah, donating to our Kofi, yes, that'll help out a lot. Trust me. But one method, and this might be a little bit of a life hack, it might sound a little obvious to some of you guys. My college professors even told us this, and the university told them not to give us this advice because they want to make the college students spend as much money. Technically piracy, yeah. they want you to spend as much money as possible. They will sell you textbooks in the store that you can rent and eventually trade in for $0 because you're never going to get any money out of them at the rental return. But they want you to pay 80 to $100 for a textbook that you could find online for 10, 15 bucks off of Amazon. One method a lot of college students do is rather than buying these overpriced textbooks, that's exactly what they do. They either find PDFs of them online where they could read them and not spend the money, or just buy them straight up off of Amazon. And my college professors gave us that advice to do so. The university told them not to, because otherwise the students are not going to give them the money. But I'm glad they did, because my last few semesters of college, that helped save me several $100s. And how my university isn't listening to this and they try to revoke my degrees. So it's just a prank, guys, if anyone is listening to this.
But yeah, college is expensive. It's really I feel like it's obvious to say it's time consuming, but there's a lot of ways I feel like it shouldn't be. For example, all the extra things I had to do just so I could get my degree that had nothing to do with what I was studying for. I think that was bad. And for example, one of my friends, he told me that he was interested in taking a lot of like additional courses to like better his skills for what we were studying. And but he was like, there's just no time because I have to do all this extra filler things that I don't really need. And I'm not saying all the activities I did were filler, because I did enjoy playing soccer. I did enjoy doing the theater club. I did enjoy going to the film clubs. But at the same time, there were many activities that I just did them because I wanted to graduate and get my degree. So it's like it kind of goes back to that whole thing of there's just all the school just really wants you to spend money there. And
that's the whole thing.
And you're already giving them a crap ton of money just to be there, right? So it does, to me, it just feels like, I don't want to say a scam, but
I mean, my term for it is a legal scam, something that is obviously they're overcharging you money and that they're getting away with it, But at the same time, though, it's legal. They're not breaking any laws, They're offering you a resource that you can pay for, because unless you're willing to go online and find it, or if you know somebody, then you're not really going to have much of a choice than to pay for that textbook or pay for that online class or buy an online ebook that's going to cost you like $70. So
also
I call it a legal scam.
Parking in campus, like what the frick?
Parking. I can't tell you guys the number of times when and don't do this, by the way, at least if you go to American colleges, but you have to pay for parking. And this is stupid how they do this.
I know. I had to do the same. I like, not all schools do this, but I hate
like the whole designated parking area shit.
And you're not even guaranteed a spot.
No, you're not. So I don't know how it worked for your university, but they had like 3 different types of parking passes and different lots. So you had like black permit lots, red permit lots, and then like visitate and like I don't know. Yeah, like visitor passes or something like that. And they would sell them at the front desk of the college when you first drove in. And you paid $40 a semester, or $40 for a parking pass that only lasted a semester to park in certain lots. 2 problems with that. One, if it's completely filled up, your parking pass is useless if, like, say, the black permit lot's filled up and you have to get to class. If you park in the red permit lot, you're going to get a parking ticket. And that's like $20-$30 just to go and pay for that. And you don't get your degree unless you pay for those, by the way, either. Or 2, you're stuck in a situation to the point where if, again, you have to get to a class, and again, you can't park in these lots, it's going to take you a long time to get to your class, making you late if you try and find another one of these lots scattered around campus. It's so inconvenient. They charge way too much money for it. In my first semester of college, I was forced to park in some very bizarre places just to make it to class. And I got like 3 parking tickets because of that. So that's another like $60 I paid years back in like 2017. So,
man, no,
but it just goes to show the parking situation sucks regardless too.
I only had to pay $6. but it was just for one vehicle. But I only had one car, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But my friend, and one time his brother was also at that school, and one time he took his brother's car, and he parked he parked somewhere he wasn't supposed to park, and he got a ticket. He got a not a ticket, but like a strike on his brother's permission thing. Yeah.
Oh my god.
But I just
Dude,
had
I
to pay
remember
$6, so it was fine, and I could park anywhere in campus that had an available spot, which all sometimes
Lucky
meant I had
you,
to
man.
park hella far. But
I had to do the exact same thing because the way my campus was structured was there was multiple main buildings on the main like quad, so to speak, where you had all your classrooms, you had the mess hall, the lounge area, all the main stuff was contained in one side of campus. There was a roadway that went down where you could go onto the highway where a lot of people would travel from town or anywhere else. But on the other side of campus, there were a bunch of apartment buildings where a lot of the students staying on campus would live at. For me, again, my first semester of college, I didn't really know this whole BS parking permit system. So because I had a parking pass and I got there a little bit later than what I should have, I couldn't park anywhere. And I couldn't even illegally park, so to speak, in any of these other, I think I had like a black permit pass at the time. So I couldn't even try and park in the red permit lots. So I was forced to go and park at one of these student apartment buildings and pretend I was a resident in one of them early on. And when I got back out to the car, not only was I parked in a very awkward spot where I'm pretty sure I scraped my car or scraped the paint off my car on the side of the building because I had to scrape whenever I got back home, but I still got a parking ticket. So I learned from the experiences, don't do that stuff. It's a BS system. Get the lot, show up to class on time, and don't try and park anywhere else. Because the unfortunate thing is, despite how BS it really is, you're going to rack up a ton of parking tickets if you don't. And unless you live on campus or you don't have a car, that's just kind of what you have to deal with. It's part of the expensive college
yeah,
experience,
I mean, the
unfortunately.
life hack I found was I made friends with people living in front of the school, like all the kids from out of town.
I mean, I would just use their cars, and when they got the tickets, I wouldn't be on
I
him.
mean,
It'd
not
be
not
rushing
all
to
of
the
them
other.
had cars, right? So they just had free parking spots in front of their apartment buildings,
Okay.
and I made friends with them. So but it was a lot more convenient, to be honest.
Know your connections, everybody.
Make friends. That's
Yes.
well. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this extra long episode of the
So,
podcast because
college edition.
next don't yeah next week we're not gonna be able to do the show because I'm going to be in Brazil. So if you see me out there, you say hi. If you see Ryan in Brazil, I'm gonna be very confused because I thought he wasn't coming.
Yeah, exactly. And I've never even been to South America.
Neither have
So
I,
it'd be very
but
weird. Well, that's true, but
starting tomorrow. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for listening to the show. Ryan, what are our socials?
if you guys really want to keep up with this awesome show and all the amazing content that we do, please check us out on our Instagram where we upload all sorts of amazing photos and, short videos. You guys can follow the episodes on YouTube where you can watch the exact same shorts and the video versions of these episodes. If you want to see our beautiful mugs, who wouldn't want to see that, right? You guys can also please check out the Ko-fi. As we've established, I'm deep in debt from college,
As we
so
talked about,
please donate.
college is expensive and don't lose your car keys.
Yes, exactly. So for all these reasons and more, please donate to the Ko-fi, help fund the podcast and keep it going. My parents only have so much money to keep this thing going. So, but otherwise, check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and of course, Ko-fi, and follow our
Link in the
individual socials.
description.
Absolutely. And otherwise, guys, thank you once again for checking out another episode of the Terminating Online Pen Pals podcast.
Goodbye.
Take care, everyone.